Have you ever felt like the world of cybersecurity is just this uh, sprawling, complex landscape, and you just want a practical map, to navigate it?
Yeah, something to feel like you're actually in the know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Without wading through like super dense technical manuals. Well, you're definitely in the right place today. We're giving you that shortcut. We're doing a deep dive into what's actually a really practical source of real-world cyber knowledge.
Okay.
It's practice questions for the Microsoft SC-401 Cybersecurity Architect exam.
Ah, okay. An exam source. Interesting.
Yeah, but before the word exam makes you tune out, just wait.
Yeah.
These questions, and especially their explanations, they're an absolute goldmine.
Right.
Full of solutions for some of the most common, critical cyber challenges organizations face.
That's a great angle. So our mission here basically is to pull out the really important nuggets from these sources.
Exactly.
Give you a fast track to understanding the key concepts, sure, but also the specific Microsoft tools for tackling modern threats.
Yeah.
And maybe most importantly, why they matter.
Yeah, getting you informed quickly.
Effectively, yeah.
And just to give a bit of context, this SC-401 exam, the official name is Microsoft Cybersecurity Architect.
Yep.
It usually runs about 120 minutes, 40 to 60 questions, somewhere in there.
Standard sort of length.
Yep. And you need a 700 out of 1,000 to pass. Costs is around 165 US generally. Might vary a bit by country, you know how it is.
Sure. Standard stuff.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We're going to explore 10 core areas of modern cybersecurity.
10 areas, got it.
Think of it like building blocks. Secure foundations, protecting info, detecting threats, compliance, security posture, the whole lot.
Sounds comprehensive. Where do we start?
Right, let's kick things off with a really foundational principle. One that's honestly reshaped how we think about security. Zero trust architecture.
Ah, zero trust. Big topic.
Definitely. So imagine you're designing a zero trust strategy. What's the first thing that, pops into your head when you hear zero trust?
Well, the core Microsoft principle is pretty simple on the surface.
Yeah.
Never trust, always verify.
Right.
Simple, but powerful.
Exactly. It's a huge shift from traditional security, the old perimeter model. You operate assuming a breach has already happened.
Assume breach.
So you don't implicitly trust anything. Not a user, not a device. Doesn't matter if it seems like it's inside your network. Every single access request, it has to be explicitly verified. Every time.
And how does that verification actually work? What does it look?
Well, this is where it gets really powerful. It uses all the data points available. User identity, of course, but also device health, location, the service they're trying to access.
All those context signals.
Exactly. All that context to make real-time, really granular access decisions. It's not just about, tougher passwords. It's a proactive strategy.
Right.
It dramatically reduces the potential damage if something does get compromised, because even an insider or a hacked account can't just move around freely without getting checked again and again.
It sort of shrinks the blast radius then.
Precisely. Turns your network into a series of, highly secure microperimeters. That makes a ton of sense, especially thinking about how one stolen password can cause chaos. But practically speaking, how tough is that shift for companies, moving from trust the inside to this constant verification?
Oh, it's definitely a significant shift. No question, both technically and culturally.
Culturally, too, huh?
Yeah, getting people used to the idea. But technically, the big challenge is often integrating these principles with older legacy systems that just weren't built this way.
Right. They assume trust.
Exactly. So it needs careful planning, usually a phased approach. But the long-term security payoff, reducing that blast radius, it's immense.
Crucial point. Okay, so you've got that foundation, that zero trust mindset. What's next? Usually it's the data itself, right?
Always the data.
How do you even start to automatically classify and protect sensitive stuff like financial records, PII, whatever, within a massive system like Microsoft 365? Sounds like finding needles in a constantly growing haystack.
Well, for that specific challenge, automatically classifying, protecting sensitive info, the Microsoft solution is Purview Information Protection.
Microsoft Purview Information Protection. Okay.
Its whole function is exactly that.
Yeah.
Help organizations discover, classify, and then apply protection across their whole digital estate.
How does it actually do that discovery and protection?
It works primarily using sensitivity labels.
Sensitivity labels, like tags.
Sort of, but much smarter. They're not just tags. They can be applied manually, sure, but also automatically based on policies. Think finding credit card numbers or specific keywords.
Intelligent policies.
Right. And once a document gets labeled, That label can enforce built-in protection, things like encryption, watermarks, access restrictions.
Directly within the apps.
Directly across M365 apps and services. Yeah. So it gives you this really crucial granular control. The protection travels with the data, from creation all the way to retirement, wherever it goes in your M365 world.
Right, that sounds really integrated. Now, you mentioned Purview. How is that different from, say, data loss prevention, DLP? They sound kind of similar.
That's a really common question, actually. They're both under the Purview umbrella, but they do different things that work together.
Okay.
Think of information protection, the labeling part, as giving your data its own digital suit of armor and a security badge. It secures the data itself based on its sensitivity.
Got it. Armor and badge.
Right. Then, Microsoft Purview Data Loss Prevention, or DLP, is more like the security guard at the exit.
Ah.
It focuses on preventing that labeled sensitive data from leaving your controlled environment through unauthorized channels like email to a personal account or copying to a USB stick. We'll touch on that endpoint part later, actually.
Okay, perfect clarification. Armor versus the guard. So data is classified, protected. Now, the next big thing is knowing who's accessing what, when, and if any of that looks suspicious, right? Threat detection.
Exactly. Centralizing your security intelligence.
So what do you use when you need a security information and event management solution to pull together logs from, say, Azure and your on-premise servers? That sounds like a huge data correlation job.
Yeah, it is. And for that, the go-to tool in the Microsoft stack is Microsoft Sentinel.
Sentinel. Okay, heard of that one.
Think of it as your ultimate security control tower. It's cloud native, which is key. And it's not just a SIM. It's also got SOAR capabilities. Security orchestration, automated response.
SAM and SOAR. All right.
So its core job is pulling in data from everywhere. Cloud services, on-prem servers, firewalls, endpoints, even other security tools, and then analyzing it all.
To find the bad stuff.
To detect threats, help you investigate them efficiently, and then respond, maybe even automatically with the SOAR part.
What's really cool about it, though? What makes it stand out?
I think what's really fascinating is its ability to unify all that often disparate security data. It gives you that holistic, single pane of glass view.
Okay, seeing everything together.
Right. It's not just about collecting logs passively. It's about connecting the dots an attacker leaves behind. This lets security teams shift from just reacting to fires.
So actually hunting for threats proactively.
Exactly. Proactive threat hunting. Potentially stopping an attack before it becomes a major incident.
So instead of security analysts jumping between like a dozen different dashboards trying to piece things together.
Sentinel puts it all in one place.
Yeah.
It's a massive improvement for analysts. Cuts down on alert fatigue, lets them focus on real threats, automates routine stuff. Huge efficiency gain.
Definitely sounds like it. Okay, staying on security but shifting slightly. Admin access. Always a high-risk area, right?
Absolutely critical.
So how do you handle providing just-in-time access, JIT, to privileged Azure roles? You want to get rid of those standing privileges, the ones that are always on, because they're such a target.
Right. Minimize standing access. For that, the tool is Microsoft Entra Privileged Identity Management, PI.
Entra PI. Okay.
It's specifically designed to tackle that exact challenge of privileged access.
How does it work? What's the mechanism?
It's pretty clever, actually. It allows for time-bound, approval-based access.
Time-bound and approval-based.
Yep. For both Azure AD roles and Azure Resource roles. So an admin doesn't have permanent high-level access anymore.
They have to ask for it.
They request it when they need it, for a limited time. And often, that request needs approval, maybe from a manager.
Ah, okay. Like checking out the keys.
Kinda, yeah. But digitally enforced. It drastically minimizes the window of opportunity for an attacker if an admin account gets compromised. It's a real game changer for improving your security posture.
Sounds incredibly robust for limiting that exposure window. But do companies run into issues implementing JIT? Does it ever, like, slow things down too much, get in the way?
It can, if it's not designed thoughtfully. That's a common concern.
Right.
A potential pitfall is making the approval process too clunky or slow, especially for urgent tasks. That can hinder operations.
So what's the key?
Finding the right balance. Maybe automating approvals for lower-risk routine tasks, but keeping human review for the really high-impact stuff. The goal is friction where it counts, not friction everywhere. You want security, not roadblocks.
Friction where it matters. Good distinction. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Compliance. GDPR, ISO 27001, IPOA. How can an organization keep track of all these complex requirements? It feels like juggling 1,000 moving parts, especially for bigger companies.
Yeah, navigating that regulatory landscape is tough to track and manage compliance and, importantly, demonstrate adherence.
Right, the demonstrating part is key for audits.
Exactly. The solution is Microsoft Compliance Manager.
Compliance manager. Okay.
It's built specifically to help organizations manage their compliance posture, however complex it gets.
How does it help practically?
Well, it provides pre-built assessments for tons of different regulations and standards. It suggests concrete improvement actions tailored to your setup, and it gives you score tracking.
Just you can see progress.
Yep. See your score, identify gaps, prioritize actions, and crucially, gather auditable evidence of your compliance efforts. It really helps bridge the gap between the technical folks implementing controls and the legal or audit teams who need to verify compliance.
Sounds like a lifesaver for anyone facing an audit. Okay, let's talk network architecture now. Inside Azure. If you need to segment traffic between different application tiers, maybe isolate your web servers from your back-end databases, what's the best way to do that?
For segmenting traffic within Azure, between tiers like that, you'd implement Azure Network Security Groups, NSGs.
NSGs, network security groups.
Yep. Their whole function is to give you really fine-grained control over network traffic.
How fine-grained?
You define specific inbound and outbound security rules. Who can talk to what, on which ports. And you can apply these rules to VMs, entire subnets, even individual network interfaces.
So like a firewall, but inside Azure?
Pretty much, yeah. A distributed, software-defined firewall. And connecting it back to the bigger picture, it's critical for containing potential breaches.
How so?
Lateral movement.
Yeah.
That's when an attacker gets into one system and then tries to move sideways across your network to find more valuable targets. It's a huge problem. NSGs are vital because if one segment, say your web tier, gets compromised, well-defined NSG rules can prevent that attacker from easily jumping over to your database tier or other critical systems. Containment.
Containing the damage makes sense. So NSGs handle traffic inside Azure, but what about users outside? Working from home, coffee shops, maybe on their personal laptop, accessing cloud apps. How do you secure access to SaaS apps, especially from devices you don't manage?
Yeah, the unmanaged device problem. Critical in today's world. The solution there is Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps.
Defender for Cloud Apps, okay?
It's what's known as a Cloud Access Security Broker, or CASB.
CASB, right.
Its job is to extend your security controls beyond your network perimeter, right into the cloud apps themselves.
How does it do that?
It enables something called Conditional Access App Control.
Conditional access app control.
This lets you monitor and, crucially, control user sessions for SaaS apps in real time. So maybe someone logs into Salesforce from a personal device you don't trust. You could use Defender for Cloud Apps policies to, say, block them from downloading reports, or prevent copying and pasting sensitive data, or apply a watermark. Even though you don't manage the device, you control the session within the app.
Wow, that's powerful. Real-time control on unmanaged devices.
Exactly. Crucial for protecting data when it's being accessed from outside the traditional corporate network boundary.
Definitely fills a big gap. Okay, let's dive into software development now. DevSecOps. How can a DevOps team actually build security into their pipeline? Make it part of the process, not an afterthought.
Yeah, integrating security right into the development lifecycle. For that, you'd point to GitHub Advanced Security.
GitHub Advanced Security makes sense, given Microsoft owns GitHub.
Right. It's designed precisely for this embedding security right into the developer workflow, into the code itself.
What kind of tools does it offer?
It's got a suite of really useful things. Code scanning finds vulnerabilities directly in the source code as it's written or checked in.
Catches bugs early.
Yep. Then there's secret scanning looks for things like API keys, passwords, connection strings accidentally committed to the code. Huge risk if those leak.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And dependency review checks the open source libraries you're using for known vulnerabilities.
Because everyone uses open source now.
Pretty much. So these tools help bake security directly into your CI/CD pipelines. Continuous integration, continuous delivery.
So it becomes automatic.
That's the goal, which ties into that whole idea of shifting security left.
Keeping left, meaning earlier in the process.
Exactly. Catching and fixing security issues much earlier in the development lifecycle when it's faster and cheaper to do so, rather than finding them late in testing or, worse, in production.
Makes total sense. Smarter approach. But for teams new to DevSecOps, what's usually the biggest hurdle? Is it the tools?
Often it's more cultural than technical.
Really? How so?
It's shifting the mindset, moving away from seeing security as this separate team that just says no at the end.
The gatekeeper role.
Right. To seeing security as a shared responsibility. Developers need to view security not as an obstacle, but as an integral part of writing good, quality code. It takes collaboration, training, and making the security tools easy and natural to use within their existing workflows.
Shared responsibility. Key phrase. Okay, now let's talk about stopping data from walking out the door. Data exfiltration. Big concern, especially with sensitive IP. How does a company stop users from, say, copying confidential files onto their personal USB drives?
Right, controlling those endpoints. To prevent that kind of data leakage, copying sensitive info to USBs or other removable media, you'd use Microsoft Purview Data Loss Prevention, DLP, specifically its endpoint capabilities.
Ah, Purview DLP again, but focused on endpoints this time.
Exactly. As we touched on earlier, its core job is preventing unintentional, or maybe even intentional, sharing of sensitive data outside your control.
And it does that how?
By enforcing policies directly on the user's machine, the endpoint. These policies can include specific actions like blocking the copy of files labeled as confidential to any USB device.
So it recognizes the sensitivity label.
Yes, it works tightly with Purview information protection labels. It sees the label, understands the policy for that label, and then blocks the risky action on the endpoint itself. Crucial for protecting IP and meeting data privacy rules, keeping sensitive data within defined boundaries.
So just to recap the Purview connection, information protection labels the data, gives it armor, and DLP acts as the guard, both at the network edge and on the endpoint, stopping that labeled data from leaving inappropriately.
Exactly, you got it. Great analogy.
All right. And for our final concept today, number 10, let's talk overall security posture. What solution gives you that unified view, that management capability across everything, not just Azure, but hybrid workloads too?
Yeah.
Bridging cloud, on-prem, maybe even other clouds.
Okay, for that broad, unified security posture management across hybrid and multi-cloud environments, the answer is Microsoft Defender for Cloud.
Defender for Cloud. Okay, another Defender product.
Right. It plays a really comprehensive role. It provides continuous security assessment, basically checking your configurations against best practices and unified threat protection.
Across
Across your Azure estate, yes, but also your on-premises servers using Azure Arc, and even other clouds like AWS and Google Cloud.
Wow, so truly hybrid and multi-cloud.
Exactly. It helps organizations maintain a strong, consistent security posture across all their digital assets wherever they live. It consolidates security recommendations and threat alerts into one place, so you hopefully don't have blind spots between environments.
That unified view across hybrid setups must be incredibly valuable. Most companies have that mix, right?
Yeah.
What's the single biggest problem Defender for Cloud solves in that specific hybrid context?
I'd say the biggest challenge it solves is the fragmentation of visibility and policy.
Fragmentation, meaning?
Meaning companies often struggle with separate tools, separate alerts, separate policies for their cloud stuff versus their on-prem stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a single picture of risk.
Siloed security.
It's exactly. Defender for Cloud tackles this by giving you that unified dashboard.
Yeah.
It makes it much easier to spot misconfigurations anywhere, apply security recommendations consistently across the board, and respond to threats holistically, not in isolated silos.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on.
Okay.
As technology keeps accelerating, lightning speed, how might these cutting-edge Microsoft solutions we've discussed today need to adapt? What about newer threats? Things like quantum computing potentially breaking current encryption, or advanced AI-driven attacks we can barely even imagine right now.
Yeah. The next frontier.
Definitely something to consider as you think about the future of security. We really hope this deep dive has given you a useful shortcut to getting informed and maybe spark some curiosity to continue exploring these really crucial topics on your own.